Hi everyone. Today I'll have a very quick one. Today I'll be talking about the third stage of counseling. So far we've looked at two stages, the first two stages. The first stage, just a short recap, the first stage was building a relationship whereby you'll be welcoming the client, get to introduce one another, and help the client understand the rules of the game, what happens in counseling. Talk about confidentiality, talk about any payment if there is, talk about the timings for the sessions and the like. Then the second stage was understanding the problem, or we could call it exploration. That was whereby you'd guide the client to talk about the issue that has brought them for counseling. You'll do more of the listening to what the client has to say, what has brought them for counseling, the problems they're facing in all its facets. You'll be asking questions here and there, seeking clarification from the client. Now, in this third stage that I'm going to talk about today, we call it goal setting. One thing you need to be very sure of is that the goals you come up with should be goals that the client has come up with. They shouldn't be your goals as a counselor. They should be the client's goals. Why do we say this? We need the client to own these goals. When the client owns the goals, they'll be more committed to the process. They won't feel like they're doing this for the counselor. So yours is just to guide the client to think, stimulate them to engage in a discussion, help them clarify issues, help them give them feedback. Okay, you also need to help them to make sure that the goals that they come up with are sound and quite meaningful. Anytime somebody is coming up with goals, you normally talk about the goals being SMART. SMART being an acronym, as in SMART. It's an acronym where the S stands for specific. The goals the client comes up with need to be specific. An example would be a situation whereby, let's say, the client has generalized anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder is a mental illness that is marked with worry in whatever situation in life somebody is in. You find that this person gets worried when they wake up. The first thing they're worried about whether the day is going to be okay. When they leave the house, they're worried whether they're going to arrive in time. They're worried when they're in a bus. They're worried that maybe they're likely to get an accident. When they're sitting for exams, they're worried that they're going to fail. When they're going to meet a friend, they're worried that they'll be late or the friend might not turn up. Okay, so they're just literally worried about everything in life. We call it generalized anxiety disorder. Now, as a counselor, what will you do? You'll help the client, you'll ask the client to describe for you a situation or situations whereby they've experienced this kind of anxiety. Maybe the client will say that when I walk into a classroom and there are students seated there, I always get worried. I think everybody's looking at me. Maybe I'm not well dressed, or maybe I didn't comb my hair, or maybe I'm just unkempt. They always think, I imagine they're talking about me. Okay, so we have that classroom as one situation. Another time when I get anxious is when I need to go to the market. I find myself thinking that there's so many people in the market, and maybe they're all looking at me and they're wondering, I'm looking funny, I'm looking out of place. Okay, so this makes me not even go to the market where at a time when I know there are many people in the market. That is yet another situation. So you're going to come up, guide the client to come up, to decide, maybe to come up with a goal like, I'd like to be able to attend my classes for at least 1 week without feeling any anxiety. So of course, you'll give them a period of, let's say, a month. So maybe the first week, they're still anxious. The second week, they're trying to cope. The third week, they're improving. By the fourth week, maybe, they're now able to attend the classes from Monday to Friday without feeling any anxiety. You've already dealt with that. Then now you're going to tell them, can we apply the same tactics, coping mechanisms you used in class? We apply them maybe to the market. Then you'll come up with another goal whereby you'll be like, I should be able to go to the market every evening or twice a week when there's so many people in the market without feeling any anxiety. Now you'll guide them to use the same coping mechanisms they used in class in the market. Then with time that will be achieved. Then now you go to another area of life where again they're feeling that anxiety. So they need to be specific. You don't just tell them, I'd like to spend the whole day without feeling anxious. Yet they feel anxious in all the places where they are. have specific areas of their life that you are dealing with. The M in SMART stands for measurable. The goal needs to be measurable. For instance, let's say you have a client who is experiencing depression, which is a mental disorder marked by sadness, a lot of sadness, feelings of hopelessness, loss of interest in things that this person was so much interested in earlier on. And this takes place for a long time, a significant period of time, at least 2 weeks before somebody can be said to be having depression. So you could have a goal like maybe, and by the way, before you diagnose somebody with depression, we normally have tools, psychological tools that you're going to administer on the client before you make such a conclusion. Then you can tell them that maybe you want to improve your mood from a 4 to a 7. Okay, that is something that is measurable. This client, let's say, has problems making friends. They are always isolated and lonely and they don't like it. It is affecting their well-being. So you can have a goal like, I should be able to make at least one friend in the next 1 month. Okay, so let it be measurable. Something that you can count. At least one friend, at least 2 friends. Something that is measurable. The A in SMART is achievable. The goal needs to be achievable. Look at the level where the client is and what kind of improvement do you expect in a given period of time. Okay, you cannot tell this client, for instance, a client who has let's say this client has social phobia, social anxiety. Social anxiety is anxiety that is felt when is a situation whereby the client has a lot of worry when they face social settings. When they go to gatherings, they have a challenge. They get worried, they get so anxious that they can even get panic attacks. So you cannot tell this client who has social anxiety that they should be able within a week to speak before a multitude of 1,000 people. That is too much. Okay, you could start with a small crowd. Yeah, maybe a group discussion. They should be able to participate in a group discussion without feeling anxious. Then they should be able to present before a class without feeling anxious. They should be able to address a given number of people. Okay, so let it be something that is achievable to the client. Then the R stands for relevant. What has brought this client for counseling, for instance? This client has come for counseling because they're always in fights with their roommate. They're always arguing about everything. They're always at loggerheads. They're not agreeing on anything. Then when this client is coming up with their goals, they say that they want to improve on their self-esteem. So you want to know what is the link between their self-esteem and the arguments with the roommate. Okay, if there's no clear link, then it means the goal is irrelevant. Maybe to improve their relationship with their roommate, they need to improve maybe on their communication skills. They need to develop more empathy, something that is related to being at loggerheads with their roommate. Okay, so it has to be relevant. And finally, the T stands for time bound. Give the client timelines. Within a given period of time, you should have achieved this. Okay, and remember, you don't give the client. The client should come up with their own timelines that within the next 2 weeks, I feel I need to achieve this. Okay, and remember, your role as a counselor is to help them come up with meaningful goals. If we find that the client is coming up with a goal that is a little bit too heavy or doesn't look like it's achievable within that period of time, it is you to help them see that actually it is not achievable in this given period of time. Okay, so that is it. That's what happens in the 3rd stage of counseling, where we are now setting goals. Remember, the 1st stage was developing a relationship. The 2nd stage was understanding the problem. The 3rd stage is now goal setting. Next, I'll be talking about the 4th stage, and I look forward to being with you then. Bye for now.